literally yesterday, we got confirmation that the Fed is starting the next round of money printing. Money printer go burr. And we just got confirmation yesterday. And Bitcoin ran from 16K to 126K while the Fed was tightening the money supply over the last 3 years. But what happens to Bitcoin when we know the Fed's balance sheet is about to explode? And of course, I got my legendary co-host who held down the show yesterday, Optimus Fields, to go down the source material for you guys and make the case. Opti, is it true the money printer's about to go burr, and what does that mean for Bitcoin?
Yeah, they officially announced it, but let me pull up the source material here, and I am going to kind of cover a lot of stuff here, guys. It will be rapid fire like always, but yes, we got a lot of source material, and also we do have Reilly. He is, hold on, let me get it right because it is very important. Executive Bitcoin advisor at Bitcoin Well, head of the, or I don't know if head, but leading the Bitcoin Well Infinite team. So we're going to talk about with him a little later. But here, all right, guys, again, I got to cover a lot of stuff, so I will be ranting a little bit. I will be covering a lot of source material just so I can give you kind of a full grasp of what's going on. I'm going to start with this tweet here. As you guys saw yesterday, if you hung out throughout the whole show, we did get a 25-bit rate cut yesterday. But one of the things that I did kind of miss, because we were just kind of talking about what the rate cuts were going to do to the price. You guys know you love watching the 1-minute chart with me. So we watched the 1-minute chart. But one of the things that did come out of this that I think is super interesting and really kind of tells us of where we are heading is that they essentially announced the money printer is warming up. It's about to go burr. It's going to go into overdrive. So here's a basic summary of what the Fed decision said yesterday. First, of course, Fed rate cuts by 25 bits and third rate cut of 2025. Next, the Fed will consider, quote, extend and timing of additional adjustments. So again, I don't think we've really gotten full market certainty yet. It sounds like we might get some more rate cuts. Obviously, with the volatility that we saw yesterday, it does seem like the markets are very uncertain about what the Fed's going to do. Are we going to cut more? We really aren't getting the best signals right now. And I think this is why you're seeing a lot of volatility in Bitcoin in particular. And then, of course, Fed will begin purchasing U.S. Treasury bills on December 12th, so tomorrow. And then the Fed will buy $40 billion of U.S. Treasury bills in 30 days, which is the big news. This literally means the money printer is going on. FOMC members Schmidt and Goolsbee, crazy name, Goolsbee, dissent in favor of no change. And then Fed signals rate cuts may be done for now. Of course, Fed Chair Powell may be halting rate cuts again. This is something we really don't know what's going on over there. They say they're going to cut or stop cutting rates. Next thing you know, they're going to, cut rates. Obviously, they're feeling a lot of pressure coming from the Trump administration. But the big kind of maybe subtle cue here is the Fed will buy $40 billion of U.S. Treasury bills in the next 30 days. Now, if you aren't that familiar with the macro talk, I was literally talking with one of my buddies yesterday. He's like, dude, I don't even understand what Fed rate cuts mean, what all this stuff means. Well, I'm going to try to break this down for you as simply as possible. I will be using a lot of tweets from more, I would say, experienced macro people. Of course, I'm going to start with the GOAT, Lynn Alden. And she highlights this portion here, of course, increase the system open market account holdings of securities through purchases of treasury bills, and if needed, other treasury securities with remaining maturities of 3 years or less to maintain an ample level of reserves. And she tweets with, the gradual print begins. Remember, QT just ended December 1st. 10 days later, what do they say? Oh, yeah, hey, we're going to buy $40 billion of treasuries again. And like Nico mentioned earlier, I actually had this a little later in here, but I'll pull it in right now. Joe Consorti made a really good point here. You got to remember, Bitcoin managed to climb from 16K to 126K as the Fed reduced its balance sheet for 3 years. And now that the Fed is expanding the balance sheet to increase bank reserves, all bets are off. This is why it's so important. Again, I've been telling you what this really means. They're expanding the money supply. They've been telling us for a while what they want to do. And some of you guys been trolling me about it. It's like, oh, Trump isn't going to tell you what they're going to do, Opti. Like you're reading in between the lines. I'm like, dude, they're literally projecting and telegraphing what they're going to do. And then they do it. Whether you think Trump tells you everything is besides the point. They've been actively telling us their playbook. They want to cut rates, and then, of course, they're going to expand the money supply. They only have two choices. As Lynn Alden always says, nothing stops this train. They have to expand the money supply. They want looser monetary policy, and they can only really do this via two ways. It's through interest rates, and then it's to expanding the money supply. One will blow up the whole system, which is manipulating the interest rates. The other one is going to hurt Main Street. It's essentially going to devalue your purchasing power. And actually, I didn't even bring it up, but Dixie did respond very interesting last night, which on a ratio number, on a relative perspective, it wasn't that big of a move. But I'll cover that in a little bit. Anyways, here's Lynn Alden continuing. As the inevitable debate breaks out regarding whether the Fed's current shift towards a balance sheet expansion is QE or not, here's my answer. Again, I've been telling you guys on the show, look, QT officially ended. Now, does that mean we're going to go straight into quantitative easing? Most likely not. Most likely what's going to happen.
QT ended.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said QE.
No, I said QT ended, okay. But does that mean we're going straight into QE? Not necessarily. They're going to rebrand this in whatever way possible. It's basically QE without calling it QE. Here's Lynn Alden's take here. It's money printing. Whether it's QE or not, it's semantics. Fed won't call it QE since it's not duration and it's not for economic stimulus. It all is the same thing. It's the expansion of the money supply. It's more liquidity into the system. Now, going further, our boy Larry Lepard goes, 40 billion of reserves management immediately, not QE. The big print begins. So the money printing super cycle has just officially started, or rather, maybe this is the point in the race where like the gun shoots. Like this is where we are. It's just heating up. It is just starting. Again, going a little more, kind of breaking this down, hopefully expand on this a little bit. This is where it gets very interesting, and Lynn Alden explains it one more time. In the press release, Powell suggests a $20 to $25 billion monthly balance sheet expansion is the new baseline for ample reserves, and then they do a $40 billion currently to deal with liquidity issues and get ahead of April tax day liquidity drain. So they said 20 to 25 billion is kind of what we need. And then they doubled that, which I think is telling you a lot of what is going on here. They're basically trying to not spook the markets right now. They're essentially saying, yeah, we need more liquidity. This will be, this is what we need to do. But, oh, guess what? We're going to double that, which really should be sending some signals to everyone. The problem is probably a lot worse than what they're telling us. But, what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. Anyways, James Lavish goes on. Here we go again. The Fed just announced that it will buy $40 billion of Treasury bills in the next 30 days. If you are wondering where this puts us in the printing cycle, it is right here. And you can see, what is this? 2020. This little dip, as you can see, we have dipped down here in 2025. This little dip was the 2020 stimulus package. So it looks like if history does repeat, we're going to most likely see something very similar. That the Fed asset sheet, the balance sheet's going to expand. It's going to start going up, more liquidity in the system, which is obviously usually very bullish for assets. You need to be holding hard assets at this moment. And of course, we think Bitcoin is the best. And shouts out to our boy, Simon Dixon. You guys know I've been a huge fan of Simon Dixon recently. I think he's really on point on what the true battle is at hand. And he goes, quantitative easing is back. Federal Reserve cuts interest rates by 25 bips. Federal Reserve to buy $40 billion worth of Treasury bills over the next 30 days. Somebody has to buy them. Treasuries are being dumped on Americans to pump stocks again or assets again. This is what's going on, guys. It's a very simple process. It's not that complicated. I do have a really good meme here. I'm not going to play it because it's a meme, but here, I'll start it here. And I mean, maybe you guys can watch it in the background. But essentially, guys, the money printer is back on. It's official. They finally admitted what we've all been saying, what I've been saying on the show, what they've been telegraphing. They are actually going to. Oh wait, I pulled it off. Sorry, I said I was going to leave it on. Here we go. Let me pull it back. I'll drop this in the chat for you guys because Nico was laughing at me earlier. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm learning through memes, bro. Like, come on, what do you mean? What am I doing? And we're just sitting here laughing at it because it's hilarious. It's really good. So yeah, the big news here, the money printer is on. They have just admitted this. They had all but admitted it, and now it's official. Maybe it's not necessarily happening, effective immediately, but in the next couple of days, they're going to start expanding the money supply. And I think like the big kind of story here is the last 3 years, they've been tightening. They've been reducing their balance sheet. Now they finally admitted, because we've been seeing, and I've been covering this for you guys on the show, there's been a lot of shenanigans going on in the markets, whether it's in Japan, whether it's in the US. You've seen Trump kind of fight Jay Powell. There's been this whole war around interest rates, liquidity, balance sheet, repo markets, regional banks basically having no liquidity. It all has finally come to a head, and they finally caved. The money printer's coming back on. So, I mean, I don't want to say super cycle, Nico, but the fact that you were being bearish the other day, I think I'm going to take a early victory lap here, because they all but admitted not only the institutions coming into Bitcoin, but the money printer's coming back on. I don't think we're going down, boys and girls. It's simply opti hopium here today. But I just don't see it in the cards. This is, to me, 2026 is going to be bullish. Bullish AF.
Look, the way that I see it is just like, it's pretty simple, right? Bitcoin has been in a bear market in 2025, undeniable. We expected a parabola year. Bitcoin's clearly not following its previous cycles. Clearly, Bitcoin right now is in completely uncharted territory. And I think that's what, that's what people, that's what I'm seeing. And I don't think I come from the school of thought that until this cycle breaks, I just don't see, until the cycle theory breaks, I'm believing in the cycle theory. And so far, the cycle theory has been 100% on point. Like, we peaked in October. We've been in a downtrend ever since. The theory of a lot of people, very smart people, including Michael Saylor, Lynn Alden, the ETF guys, Optimus Fields, Walker America, is that, they're all saying this time is different. And I promised you guys when Walker was on the show, I said, I'll be happy to take some pie on the face. Like, you guys could literally, like the Nickelodeon.
It's coming.
It's the Nickelodeon meme. Like, I'll the whipped cream pie or whatever. But until that happens, until I see that Bitcoin breaks $117,000, and it breaks it like consistently in the year 2026, dude, I think we're in a bear market. Like, I still think we're in a bear market, bro.
Dude,
look,
let's get him out. Let's get him off the show. We need the cane. We need the cane here.
We went down, right, from the top of 126,000. We went down. We hit 80K. We're having a bounce back, right? We hit 94. We got rejected. We're back to 90K. Let's see if it's a continuation of the trend. Now, here's the thing. If it's a continuation of the trend, right, I would be very happy. I'd be very happy if Opti was right and I was wrong. I'd be the first. I'd be the first to I'd be the first to say anything. I'd be the first to admit defeat and to, take the walk of shame and say, listen, guys, it's not even the walk of shame, bro. I'm just being realistic. What's wrong with being realistic? Opti? What's wrong with being realistic? You're giving me a hard time.
I
for
live
being
in
realistic.
fantasy bulltard land. Sorry, dude. Reality doesn't affect me anymore.
Yeah. Then what? Then when, bro, the last two bear markets have been brutal for you.
Yeah, it truly was. It truly was. I'm not gonna lie.
So I'm just seeing what the situation is. And the situation is that we peaked at 126K in October. And we've gone in a downtrend since. Are the 4-year cycles going to break? Technically, the 4-year cycle, the meme, 3 green, 1 red, is already broken because 2025 is a down year. Technically, you can make an argument that 2025 was a bear market year for Bitcoin, right? You could say that, even though we made an all-time high, but you can make an argument that 2025 was a bear market year. So all I'm saying is I'm seeing and I'm watching, but I do remember the pain because that's what it was. The pain, the depths of hell and the trenches that me and Opti got out of, the Bitcoin hood, like we like to call it.
This is Bitcoin price derangement syndrome.
And I remember it like clear as yesterday. Do you remember the 2018 bear market?
Yeah, that sucked. Well, that was when I earned my stripes. Dude, the 2022 one was brutal.
The 2018 was brutal. 2022 was brutal. Like, so I'm waiting and I'm seeing. But right now, as it stands, right now, at this moment, the 4-year cycle theory has not broken.
Boo this, man.
So Opti's making the cases broken. Sailor's making the cases broken. Lynn's making the cases broken. Walker's
Dude,
making
I'm in
the
good
cases
company.
broken.
I'm in good company.
Right? So you guys are all making the cases broken. I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and I hope you guys are right, and I hope I'm wrong, right? Because if not, the 200-week moving average is 60K, baby.
Well, hey, that's better than what you said, 30K. So I'll take it.
You never know. You never know. But anyways, I do want to pass it on to our guest. We got Reilly in the house. Reilly, what are your thoughts on this, bro? What are your clients talking to you about? Because I'm sure you're getting this question a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely are. As having a risk management background, I always, lean a little bit more on the realistic side. Try not to, try to control my optimism a little bit, especially depending on who I'm talking to, right? But I think for us, I know a handful of clients that are definitely kind of on the side, waiting for some stability and kind of see what's going on. Of course, during those times, as an opportunity to talk about, well, you can certainly start to maybe, DCA, because a lot of our folks are just smash buying when they first come through our door. And of course, want to continue buying after that. But it's like, depending on what price action is doing, do you continue to smash buy, or do we set up some sort of DCA strategy that we determine? So to be honest, and to give you the inside scoop, definitely some folks on the sidelines, but a lot of our folks too are just price insensitive, and they're just smash buying, and they're taking any dip that we get.
Awesome. I mean, but let me ask you something else though, right? Like, I'm sure they're asking you the question that everyone's wondering right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Opti and I are yin and yang right now, right? Yeah. Bull versus bear. We got a bear and we got a bull on the other sides of the table. What are you telling your clients when they're asking you? You do come from a risk management background. Like, what are you telling your clients, at the current moment?
Yeah, so I guess I would lean more on the bull side of things currently, though, just because for me the way I see it, as you guys were working through all that news and everything, as you teed me off there, just with the amount of institutions that are coming in. I certainly think a lot of them as well. And of course, so these are, fiat minded folks. So I say this with a grain of salt. that, you know, maybe they learned their lesson from the last cycle, because towards the what ended up being the top, we were certainly starting to see a lot of companies come in, and then they just immediately got quickly burned. And so I'm sure they were soured by that. But now with the ETFs, now seeing banks like JP Morgan, Bank of America, so on and so forth, or even smaller regional banks getting in, they're not doing all of this work and rolling out these new products and services for there to be no demand once they're officially operating. And so, you know, we're very close to seeing a lot of things roll out Q1 of next year. Or, you know, I also know of banks that are currently working on things that, you know, they're kind of on a 12-month deadline currently, because like they want to get into this space as quick as possible. So again, though, I think maybe that's why we have seen the price action that we have, where, you know, people who certainly believe in the 4-year cycle, you know, we're kind of selling at the top to then buy back lower. So if, I certainly think like that has been in play and has impacted the price. Certainly, you know, kind of the what was it, November 10th tariff news with the 100% tariffs to China, which then just, you know, happened midday on a Friday before a long weekend. I don't think that's a coincidence. So, you know, just things like that happen from time to time, where, you know, trying to keep the price as low as possible to allow these institutions to catch up. And then, you know, once everyone is up and running, then it's off to the races. So that's why I do lean more on the bull side as we go into 2026.
Okay, so we got 2 bulls in the house and we got 1 bear. We got 2 bulls in the house and 1 bear. Reilly saying what Opti's saying. This time is different.
Well, it is interesting because Reilly basically said what I have been saying for the last couple of weeks. It's like, it just makes no sense to me when you're seeing all of this institutional demand. They're unleashing all of these products right now. And we do have some evidence of like who is actually kind of trying to suppress the price, and they're not doing a very good job of this.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes no sense to me that they're going to launch all these products right now, and then it's not going to do anything next year. Like, even to your point, Nico, about the cycle theory, you know, still quote unquote being intact. Like, it's already officially broken if we're negative on the year. Like it's done. It should be 3 green, 1 red, and we got 2 green, 1 red. So like, all the models are broken. Everything's been off this cycle. So I don't see, with all these new products, all this new demand kind of coming in, or rather being set up, how we're not going to see bullishness in 2026. That's like my underlying thesis, basically.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it goes to like this time is different. Like, dude, they made a whole meme of this.
Yeah, but it is different.
Exactly. And every single cycle, that was the meme.
But it finally happened.
I remember in 2017, right? And then the 2018 bear market hit. I remember vividly, like, one of the coping mechanisms that everyone had was like, but Nico, the institutions are coming. The institutions are coming. 2021, it was like the Bitcoin super cycle. This thing's going to 150K or 100K minimum. It didn't go to 100K, it went to 69K. This time, people were expecting this specific cycle, 250K, 300K. It hit 126K, right? So,
all right, I just rebranded. It's Bitcoin meme derangement syndrome that Nico is suffering from.
I'm just pointing it out. I'm just pointing it out, dude. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the cycles break. I hope that this time truly,
bro, it did.
I hope the cycles do break, and I hope that this time truly is different. And I think that we're all looking for a catalyst, because there needs to be a catalyst, because at the end of the day, I think what a lot of like the forces that the Bitcoin bulls are fighting against right now is that people are believing in the 4-year cycle theory, right? So a lot of whales are dumping because they think, oh, the 4-year cycle is the thing, right? So you have a lot of OG whales that are dumping hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin because they think they're going to be able to buy it cheaper early next year. So it kind of becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, I think the big question on everybody's minds is, okay, but maybe this time it is different because you have a pro Bitcoin administration, because you have institutional adoption of Bitcoin, because you have the success of the ETFs, because the Bitcoin BlackRock ETF is the most successful ETF launch in history. It is also the most profitable ETF for BlackRock. You have Wells Fargo, you have Bank of America, all basically saying they're getting into the Bitcoin game. So I understand the argument for this time is different. I totally get it. I understand it. But I want to see it come to fruition. I do want to see it play out. I don't want to just wait on the sidelines and just say, okay, and then then we have a correction next year, bro. Then we're at 75K next year. We're at 60K next year.
Bro, we're at 75K this year. Like, what are we talking about?
But what if we go back there in 2026? Like, I think that's really the number one question. The year's about to be over. We got less than a month. We're heading into 2026. And I think the question on everybody's minds is 2026 going to finally break the 4-year cycle? Are we heading into all-time highs in 2026, Opti?
Fuck if I know. But my vibe is telling, dude, all right, everyone's vibe coding. I am vibe trading here. Well, I don't even trade. I'm vibe charting. Yes, I will say yes, but I've been wrong all year. So like, whatever.
All right, so I'm going to pass it on to Reilly, who again has a risk management background. Reilly, 2026, are we making an all-time high or what?
I believe so. Kind of writing some notes down here as we go along, and I think there's going to be a couple factors. So like right now, they're laying these institutions are laying the foundations, right? Where we had the ETFs last year, now we have the banks being able to play in this game, and they're already rolling out products with PNC officially, 2 days ago. We got a couple more that will be live before the end of the year, Q1. And then, like I said, there are certainly some banks that, have about a 12-month roadmap before they have products that are officially live. So we have that. And then also, I made a note about, we're going to have a new Fed chair, which is certainly going to make some things interesting. And also too, I think one interesting aspect of this as well, as not only we go into the year 2026, but that's just 1 year closer to the end of Trump's term here. And of course, he's going to want to set up the Republican Party, for success in the next election. And again, these are mainstream legacy media sources, so who knows? But last I did see that his approval rating is certainly taking a hit, and this is a money guy, right? And when that your base is also, and your base and Main Street overall is struggling, I certainly think he's going to want to end on a good note and make people remember his legacy of putting more money in their pocket. And so I certainly think there's that fiat politician clown world aspect of all this as well.
So let's talk about the midterms coming up, right? Right now, as it currently stands, the repubs are going to get a schmalackin. If and again, you could actually make an argument too that a lot of this I saw a post by Anthony Pompliano, like, you could blame a lot of this on the Fed. You could say that the Fed has not lowered rates fast enough. You could say that the Fed is politically motivated. And they're trying to sabotage Trump's term. You can make arguments for that. And again, those arguments don't come from me. I interviewed Senator Cynthia Lummis in the beginning of the year in DC, and then spoken to Caitlin Long about this. And, they've been making the case basically the entire year that, the Fed could be politically compromised, right? And I know that during the election season, right, they weren't as hawkish as they are right now. Like, You know, they were a little bit looser with the monetary policy, right? They were saying, oh no, we'll print a little. There's no inflation coming. And then as soon as Trump comes in, and Trump's a pro Bitcoin candidate, right? We know that the future of the Federal Reserve is central bank digital currencies. We know the Trump administration doesn't like central bank digital currencies. So is it too much of a stretch to say that the Fed has been essentially politically sabotaging the Trump administration to kind of wait him out so the Dems could get back in power in 2026 during the midterms? Is that too much of a stretch to say that? I don't think that's too much of a stretch to say that at all. Right. After all the things I've seen this year, I don't think that's a stretch at all. And I think it's also a testament of how big Bitcoin has gotten, that now it's getting into like the geopolitics discussion. Like it's like you have multiple countries, you know, their involvement. I saw Michael Saylor's keynote from Bitcoin Mina in Abu Dhabi, and he was making the case on stage. He's like, I talked to like 50 sovereign wealth funds and they're all interested in buying Bitcoin. Like, that is wild. Like, we could have never have imagined this. Like, we imagined it, but we could have never. One thing is imagining something and one thing is living through something. So yeah, I think the big question on everybody's mind, and I guess nobody really knows, right, is what's Bitcoin gonna do in 2026? Is the cycle going to break? If the cycle does break, that creates a catalyst. And the reason that creates a catalyst is because there's a whole lot of people, including myself, maybe not Opti, maybe not Reilly, that are saying, look, come back, pack up your bags, come back in 2029 when you guys are 4 years older, right? That a lot of people are believing that, by the way. Like, if you look at all of the quote unquote, again, a lot of these people are my friends, so I'm not going to name any names, but you look at any of the Bitcoin TA people or the crypto TA people on YouTube and X and all that, a lot of them are saying, look, the cycle is over. The cycle is done. You know, it's like, look, like we wanted something higher and never came to fruition, but that's it. Right. So I think that's really the question. Is this time actually truly different? Did the institutions actually change the game? Are we actually not going to see a 60 to 70 to 80% drawdown in Bitcoin's price? And are we going to see an all-time high in 2026? And if we do see an all-time high in 2026, that's going to catch so many people off guard. And that is the exact opposite of what the market is expecting, because I think that a big reason as to why Bitcoin had a negative price performance this year is that in the beginning of the year, including us two idiots, we were all expecting that Q4 was going to be explosive the entire year.
Yeah, there's still time. 300K by end of year.
The entire year, all of Bitcoin Twitter and YouTube and everyone was all expecting that. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know why does that keep happening?
No clue.
But anyways, everyone was expecting that Bitcoin was going to have this explosive Q3, Q4 of 2025. Everyone was expecting that. The markets do the exact opposite of what everyone expects. Now, what is the exact opposite of what everyone expects for next year? Other than you being delusionally bullish like Opti, right? Who's always bullish no matter what.
It's not delusional if you're right.
Right. Other than being delusionally bullish, right? What would catch the markets completely by surprise in 2026? Like, even saying it out loud sounds weird. Imagine seeing 200K Bitcoin in 2026. It would catch everyone by surprise. The 4-year cycle is done. All of the metrics that people have developed over the years to show where Bitcoin peaks, all of those would all be gone. They wouldn't be useful anymore. We would be heading into uncharted territory. And I think that is a huge catalyst. But until I see it actually happening, I still think that the 4-year cycle is a thing. So we'll see. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Anyways, guys, it's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about all things Bitcoin during the culture segment. During the number segment, I have a clip of Adam Back, who I recently interviewed in Lugano. Drop that interview. Go check out Simply Bitcoin.
Kind of
IRL.
agreeing with me.
And Adam Back is agreeing with Optimus Fields. He's talking, or I think the person who posted this, hyper adoption phase of Bitcoin. And then you have a lot of these institutions that are cutting down their price predictions. You have Standard Charter slashes their 2025 Bitcoin forecast to 100,000, right? So everyone's getting bearish a little bit here. So anyways, guys, it's going to be a great show. We're going to be right back in just a bit. But before we do that, I do want to give a very special shout out to, of course, our lead sponsor, best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack, bitcoinwell.com. Create your free account today. What makes Bitcoin Well different is that it's a non-custodial Bitcoin on-ramp. What does that mean? It's the only one in the States, by the way. That means that when you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. They don't even allow you to leave your Bitcoin on the exchange, which perfectly aligns with the Simply Bitcoin ethos of the separation of money and state, because after all, self-custody is the revolution. If you're a higher net worth individual, a trust, a family office, an organization, and you want a tailored white glove service designed for people that are trying to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, you have to check out Bitcoin Well Infinite. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC, schedule a meeting with the team today, and you'll get to talk to someone like Reilly. It's fantastic. Anyways, guys, it's going to be a great show. We have tons to cover. Smash the like button. We're going to be right back in just a little bit. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo, and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on Stampseed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store. All right, everybody. We are back. Guys, scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Stampseed website. Use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off. Don't write down your seed words on paper. Stamp them into titanium. Get yourself a stamp seed kit today. Use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $90,430. Block height 927,453. Market cap 1.81 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 5.94%. Decline from all-time high, negative 28.4%. Did we get kicked off again? No. Oh, no.
Yeah, we're back.
Yes, I want to play you guys this clip. Shout out to our boy Luke Mikic, one of the best Bitcoin YouTubers in the game. And he was posting a clip of Adam Back. Adam Back is feeling as bullish as Opti. So let's check out.
I'm in good company.
Let's check out this clip of Adam talking about Cycle.
JP Morgan, for example, is calling for $170,000 in the next 6 to 12 months. Tom Lee from Stratfor is calling for $200,000, similar time frame. And there's a lot of institutional buying, which I think is it's very early stages so far.
I mean, some of those folks were calling for those kinds of price targets for the end of this year, and we haven't quite gotten there. But I mean, broadly, would you agree with those kinds of numbers that you see in here?
Well, I think it's very difficult to predict timing, but I think people have short memories too, right? Recall the last cycle, we had a 69,000 top around this time, about 40% through the cycle. And people thought that was the top, but it put in a higher top much later in the cycle, right? So I think the timing within the cycle is getting over the focus. So if people zoom out and consider that the timing is less accurate, and there are different buyers now. The ETF buyers are quite sticky. There's long-term investors, the Swiss National Bank buying MicroStrategy, some of the Abu Dhabi sovereign wealth funds buying Bitcoin, some of the pension funds buying Bitcoin, and a number of banks, and the investment companies like Fidelity calling a 1 to 5% allocation, Bank of America 2 to 4, and BlackRock 1 to 3 were the first ones putting out a model price target as a model portfolio allocation. So I think those are, they're very interesting. They build comfort and support within the investor community. But those things take time to take effect, right? Because the banks have to go through trainings programs, get their salespeople the information. So I think that continues to come through.
So I mean, I don't know, Opti, what are you thinking, bro? I like in that, and I'm gonna self-deprecate a little bit here, but it's fine. In that clip, I was definitely the lady with the glasses.
Yeah, no, you're literally what Idle Threat see. Like, look at the screen. It's Opti, Nico, then Adam back, the bell curve personified.
That's fantastic.
Look, I'm not even really basing this off, what all the other kind of Bitcoin, TA guys are saying. It's really what Reilly and I were saying in the beginning of the show. It just makes no sense to me. Like, even saying the cycle is still in play, it doesn't make sense. Like, this year has been red. The cycle's already broken. Yes, maybe it topped when it was supposed to top, but the cycle is 3 green, 1 red. 3 years of bullishness, 1 year of a bear market, and then it starts going back up again. That's not what happened this year. It's either whether it's 2 green, 1 red, and then 1 green again, cycle's over. Whether it's 2 green, 2 red, the cycle is over. So, like, yes, maybe it did top when everyone thought it was going to top, but going further, kind of what Adam Back was saying at the very end is also mainly kind of the foundation to my bullishness here. Is essentially all of the banks, and I don't know if you guys saw this morning, but Bank of America just basically dropped a Sailor copycat as well. They're doing Bitcoin-backed credit now too. Every huge institution in the world is getting into Bitcoin in some way. And you think these people are coming into Bitcoin and they're not going to shill this to every single person? You don't think a tsunami of capital is coming, especially when I just told you, like, the money printer's also turning on. Everyone's making Bitcoin products. Every huge asset manager in the world either has an ETF or they're shilling ETFs. Like, it just makes no sense to me that the year that the institutions get in, that the following year it's not going to rip. It makes perfect sense to me that the year that the institutions are allowed to get into Bitcoin, that the price kind of doesn't do what it's supposed to do, because they want to fill their bags. Like, it's just like, this is 42 IQ Bitcoin first principles thinking here. This is not like, oh, everyone's predicted this. This is why I think it's going up to X price. I just think, like, everything is completely off the table. Nico is right when he says we are in uncharted territory right now. I think that's completely on point.
Did you just say I'm right about something?
About the meme.
Okay.
About the meme. Yeah,
wow.
You're wrong about the cycles, but you're right about the meme. We are in uncharted territory right now. That's very clear. Again, I've been making the case all year, or rather the last couple of weeks. When you went fully bearish on me, I've been making the case. Look, we had all-time high before the halving. We had a 2025 red year, which was supposed to be a bullish, parabolic, banana zone year. We have all the institutions literally flipping on a dime their narrative around Bitcoin. Everyone's trying to position themselves to get into Bitcoin. I think all the models are indeed broken. Like we really don't know what's going on. But you know, maybe I just choose to be bullish. I refuse to be bearish in the sight of all of this stuff. That's just probably where I'm at. So, you know, you want to ask me where my price prediction comes from? It's just gut level, oracle level. I am the source at this point, Nico. I say it's going to happen. If I'm wrong, I will not apologize for it. It's going up, dude. It's just going up. That's all there is to it.
Opti is vibing. Opti is feeling the vibes. Reilly, what are your vibes right now, bro? You have, Adam Back, basically saying that, he thinks that there's going to be like institutional, interest coming in. He's laying out the map, the landscape. And what are your thoughts on that, man? What are your thoughts on Adam Back's comments?
Yeah, well, like he was saying towards the end there, once the foundation is set and the sales, departments have all their materials to get out there and start pitching this to their clients, that's when we're gonna start seeing things start to tick up, because we also have to remember these institutions are not in the game of losing money. If they're doing all of this work of creating these new products and services, they're going to want to see an ROI on that as quickly as possible. And I think too, and I caught that Bank of America news before hopping in here as well, and I found that to be very interesting. But I also feel like during this time where we have pulled back now, and like we saw on the Clark Moody dashboard there, we're off the all-time high 28%. I feel like institutions and mainstream media have also been taking advantage of that with their various hit pieces, especially with Jeffrey Epstein's banker there at JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, where we saw all these hit pieces, more so directed at MicroStrategy, but it is obviously then a shot at underlying, Bitcoin too. And then a week goes by and they roll their Bitcoin-backed bond product out. Or now, a week or two after that, now we see this Bank of America. So I feel like they're also taking their shots, and they're like, well, hey, we don't want business going to Coinbase or some of these other big exchanges. We don't want business going to great Bitcoin only exchanges like Bitcoin. Well, we want our clients' funds to stay with us, and we will make it very easy for you to be able to buy Bitcoin and other related products. And so again, I think that's why I lean more so on the bullish side for next year. Because again, like I said in the beginning here, these people are not in the game of losing money.
My man, he gets it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They're not in the game of losing money, but I would say I had a really, and you probably know who he is, Reilly, but I had a very good conversation with someone, and comes from like the traditional markets, and I'm like, dude, like, what's going on with the price? Is it being manipulated? He's like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, this is how Wall Street operates. Like, this is not manipulate. Like, this is like their standard operating procedure. So the reason I'm bringing that up, Reilly, is because, like, could you imagine a world where BlackRock purposely makes Bitcoin boring as hell, or Bitcoin, dumps the price, or BlackRock dumps the price to accumulate more Bitcoin for their institutional clients? They're not losing money doing that, right? Mm-hmm. But they are, playing the game, how Wall Street has always played this game, I might add, right? Like, this is standard operating procedure for them to take money from retail, and basically get rich. Like, that's how Wall Street has always played the game. So the difference was that before the introduction of the ETF in the beginning of January 2024, we were celebrating it like morons. Like, you know, Wall Street really wasn't in the game, right? There was like a couple futures, like you can get into Bitcoin futures, but there wasn't like an ETF. Like Strategy got involved like in 21. But like before Wall Street, you had pretty predictable retail cycles. It was kind of like the Wild West era, but boy, was that a lot of fun, dude. Like that was fun. Like I miss the 50% down in one day days, you know, like I miss those days. Those days I used to feel terrible, and I'd be like,
but Scott got scared at a 30% drawdown,
bro. 30, yeah, but 30% drawdown, while like 30% drawdown over a period of like 8 months, bro. You know, it's like it used to be a 30% drawdown in 24 hours. Now it's a 30% drawdown in 6 months. It's totally different, right? So anyways, guys, it's going to be a great show. We still have an excellent article by Standard Charter. They slashed their forecast of Bitcoin to 100K. We're going to dive deep into what the reasoning is behind all of that, what their reasoning was behind all of that, and further continue this discussion. What is going to be happening to Bitcoin in 2026? Will the change of the Fed chairman impact the monetary policy? Will the monetary policy impact Bitcoin? Will the Republicans finally wake the F up and realize they're going to get shabanked during the midterms? Let's see. Opti doesn't think so. And has it come to a point where us Bitcoiners are just waiting and begging and saying, please, sir, could you turn on the money printer? Like, has it really gotten to that point? Because Opti's shaking his head.
Yes, it has.
Opti, you effed up when you broke up with Christine Lagarde. You had access.
My bad,
you had access, bro. We would be at 500K if Opti was still in that relationship.
Well, you know, Jay Powell, I'm open to a relationship. I'll make sure the money printer comes back.
All right, everybody, we're going to be right back in just a bit. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones? They don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY. All right, everybody. Check out the big key right now. It is literally one of the easiest. No, it is literally the easiest Bitcoin hardware wallet to use. It has multi-sig built in. It has inheritance built in. Of course, all you got to do to use it is you use your fingerprint. You tap it on your phone. Bada bing, bam, boom. You're ready to spend your Bitcoin. It's made by our friends over at Block and Cash App and Square. Fantastic. It's Time named it one of the best inventions of 2024. Go check it out. Go to bitkey.world. Use promo code SIMPLY. You got 20% off anything on their store. Again, promo code SIMPLY. All right, everybody, back to what we were talking about. Standard Charter slashes 2025 Bitcoin forecast to 100K. Goes on to say, with Bitcoin's uptrend coming to a halt after a worsening fourth quarter performance, British multinational bank wealth management firm Standard Charter has significantly reduced its multi-year price targets for the crypto top. The bank now forecasts that Bitcoin will reach 100,000 by the end of 2025, down from a previous target of 200,000. No shit. According to a Tuesday report, while its long-term outlook remains at 500K, the timeline has been pushed back from 2028 to 2030. Bitcoin is currently stuck in a tight range with no catalyst to put a shot. Okay, I want to focus on the catalyst part. You know what the catalyst is going to be? The catalyst is going to be when the 4-year cycle theory either breaks or it gets upheld. If it breaks, I'm telling you, that is a catalyst. You know what another catalyst will be? If a major U.S. bank announces it's buying Bitcoin. That's what Michael Saylor he's theorizing. I mean, he's having a lot of these conversations, right? That he's saying that, look, this is what's going to happen in 2026. It's the involvement of banks, and that's going to take Bitcoin to the next level, like big banks. And we saw that with the announcement of Bank of America. Now, you know what another big catalyst will be? And I got to be honest, like first year of the Trump administration, I love what Trump's done for Bitcoin. It's been great. I'm not a big fan of look, in Nashville, he kept all his promises. He talked to all of us. I was in the crowd. I remember like it was yesterday. Our friends over at Bitcoin Magazine, that we were invited to participate in the news desk that year. Simply Bitcoin was, and I remember they're like, Nico, do you want to go on the news desk? And this was like right before Trump's speech, so there was like literally like millions of people on the stream, watching the stream, and I remember I was like, no, I want to go watch. I want to go watch Trump speak, right? And I saw the speech, and it was great, and I was like unimpressed for the majority of the speech until he mentioned strategic Bitcoin reserve. Okay. And I was like, I got hyped up. And then he said, end Operation Choke Point 2.0. But one of his other promises that I think we all took for granted was that number was going to go up, because ultimately it's like, look, number went the F up during Operation Choke Point 2.0. So like, you know, I say this as a joke, but like half serious, like half jokingly, like bring back Kamala, bring back Biden, because at least the price of Bitcoin went up. It went from 16K to like 100K, right? During the Trump administration, when he was inaugurated, the price of Bitcoin was 109,000. I never forget. Today, almost 12 months later, and I'm a year older, the price of Bitcoin's $90,540. I'm just like not a fan of that, right? And you could say, okay, but the regulations, and his family's involved in the industry, and you see Eric Trump and how bullish he is, and you know, and all this stuff, and all of that stuff is good. It's fantastic. I love the fact that our industry supposedly is not getting attacked. By the way, speaking of that, we have one of the developers of Samurai Wallet scheduled to come on the show next week to talk about privacy, because that's another thing.
I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday.
So Tuesday of next week to talk about privacy, because that's another thing that hasn't been talked about, ladies and gentlemen. The whole privacy thing, like basically they criminalized privacy. They criminalized Bitcoin anonymity under the false pretense of North Korea and terrorism, and like the percentage of people that were using Samurai and Wasabi and any of these mixers for illicit purposes was a very tiny fraction of the overall user base, right? So they criminalized that, which I think is against the Constitution. Constitution is no unreasonable searches and seizures, right? Fifth Amendment. That was thrown out the window. So again, like I went from, we were having like thousands of people watching our live stream, and Opti and I were like cloud nine. I think that was euphoria phase, bro, in January of 2024. That was the euphoria phase, my friend. We were no, bro, you were super happy. You were super happy.
I'm a one issue voter, and anyone that pumps my bags, yes, I'm happy.
But dude, Biden pumped our bags, right?
Yeah, that's why shouts out Biden.
Biden pumped our bags. Anyways, Reilly, as a fellow American, bro, what are your thoughts on this, dude? Because we went from our industry, Operation Choke Point 2.0, things are getting nasty, things are getting dirty, to a pro-Bitcoin administration, first pro-Bitcoin president in the United States of America. And his family owns like the 6th largest Bitcoin treasury company. We've had basically a year of the Trump administration. Lots of bombs dropped, but Bitcoin hasn't pumped. What's your take on that?
Literally or figuratively?
Both.
Yeah, so I mean, real quick, yes, Biden in a way, maybe Bitcoin was pumping during the last year of his term there, but talking about single issue voters, he had never said that he was going to free Ross, which then Trump did do. And now, and of course, you remind me of talking about your next guest here within the next week. Now we need Trump to free the Samurai devs as well, and Tornado. Any devs where they're working on privacy, that is a major issue if they're going to be incarcerated, and those people need to either have not guilty verdicts, or if we're already past that point, they need to be pardoned. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping on. This administration catches wind of that, and helps those folks out, because that's a very big issue where if code is no longer being treated like speech, and that's going to go against one of our amendments, then that's a very slippery slope, and we have a major problem on our hand, outside of maybe Bitcoin being a little lower than we would like.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, okay, I agree with those arguments, but the Ross getting freed, huge victory, huge win for our movement. I think Trump needed to do that because he needed the votes, right? No politician just does things to do things. They do things because they needed the votes. I think Trump needed a coalition of libertarians, of people that were into crypto and Bitcoin, and he built that coalition. Like he has moderate Democrats in his cabinet, like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, right? So he built this fantastic coalition. And he did free Ross. He did keep that promise. He did end Operation Choke Point 2.0, but no one's addressing and talking about the elephant in the room. The elephant of the room is privacy has officially been criminalized in the United States, right? And ultimately, and again, it's being done via soft power, right? So what they do is that they don't overtly criminalize it, but what they do is that they make it. There's a reason Satoshi is anonymous. There's a reason Satoshi's anonymous. If Satoshi were not anonymous, he would be in jail by now. Like straight up, I would tell you that 100%. And what's really slippery about what's happening with Tornado Cash, so they use Tornado Cash as a precedent. As soon as Tornado Cash happened and the guy was charged and Coin Center sued and Coin Center saw that, lost that lawsuit, within a month, they arrested the Samurai Wallet guys. And the government is basically making the case that, look, as an open source developer, you're responsible for people using your code in a malicious manner. That's the case, basically, right? The TLDRs, that's the case. Now they'll say, okay, but it's because they've profited from it, and they shouldn't have profited from it, and they're unlicensed money transmitting. Like, the whole thing is scary. And you know, one of the things that I love about Bitcoin Well and the way that you guys built the platform is that it's automatic self-custody. And I think that this year people have forgotten one of the truest lessons of Bitcoin, which is, listen, not your keys, not your cheese. Yes, the ETFs are here. Yes, you can buy exposure to Bitcoin via MicroStrategy, but it's not real Bitcoin. Unless that Bitcoin is in self-custody, it's not real Bitcoin. It's not real Bitcoin. Like, you have something called a Bitcoin IOU, and it's a trust me bro model, right? And human history has shown that the trust me bro model is garbage, right? Anyways, that's a perfect way. It's a perfect segue to our next segment. During the culture, we have Reilly, executive Bitcoin advisor at Bitcoin Well. We're going to be talking about all things Bitcoin Well, their OTC product, the Infinite product, the portal. We're going to be right back in just a little bit.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at HIVEdigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitcoinBend.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Bend's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank. And you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys. Tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth. And join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to BitcoinBend.io. Join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right, everybody, we are back, and we are joined with Reilly from Bitcoin Well. Guys, Bitcoin Well is North America's only publicly traded non-custodial OTC desk, ladies and gentlemen. Did we drop out again? Oh, we good?
No, Reilly did.
Okay, we are back. All right. And we have Reilly joining us on today's show. You could scan the QR code. You could check the link in the video description / podcast description if you want to know more about Bitcoin Well, or you can go straight to bitcoinwell.com/OTC to get signed up today. But I'm going to talk to Reilly. Reilly, first of all, thanks for joining us, brother. Could you walk us through the Bitcoin Well Infinite experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, been really enjoying this. So thanks again for the invitation today. So yeah, basically how we always kind of kick things off with our newer folks. that are, kind of knocking on our door because they found us on, Google, social media, whatever the case may be, or through, our great sponsors like yourselves. So basically, I would have a one-on-one conversation with that individual, or maybe their family, and really have a chance to, of course, not only introduce myself, highlight our service, but more importantly, get to know more about them, and kind of what questions they have, get an understanding of where they fall on the Bitcoin spectrum of, will this be the very first Bitcoin that they purchase, or are they a seasoned Bitcoiner looking to buy more, or if they're a believer in the 4-year cycles, maybe even sell. So we just have that time where I can have really they can have my undivided attention to be able to have those conversations, and really from there we can have additional conversations as needed. But at that point, when they're ready, we onboard them as quickly as possible, so they can get right into stacking those sats or stacking those Bitcoin.
That's fantastic, man. So again, it's a tailored white glove experience. Go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Again, schedule a meeting. It will either be with Reilly or Chantel, and they'll walk you through, your Bitcoin journey. Again, if you're a higher net worth individual looking to buy $50,000 worth or more, and you want a tailored white glove service where they hold your hand from A to Z, buying the Bitcoin and then taking that Bitcoin into self custody, this is the team to go to. So all you got to do is go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Schedule a meeting with their team today. Again, this is designed for family offices, high net worth individuals, trusts, or organizations. Also, of course, Bitcoin Well is designed for retail as well, right? And what I love about the portal, first of all, it's extremely easy to use, number one. And number two, every time you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, you earn Bitcoin Well points. And you can use those points towards the Bitcoin Wishing Well contest, which I'm trying to access right now. Here we go. Bom, bing, bom, boom. And you could use those points towards a bunch of different prizes. So you can get an orange Cybertruck, a Bitcoin nutrition hoodie, a BitAxe, a stamp seed plate, or you can play the Bitcoin Wishing Well contest, which again, you toss a coin into the wishing well. Oh, come on, guys. Seems like let's refresh the page. Let's refresh the page. It seems like it's not working for us today. We're going to be doing a double giveaway tomorrow. Anyways, but yes, it's awesome. Bitcoin Well's fantastic. They encourage self-custody. It's built for self-custody. And again, if you're a higher net worth individual, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. And you've met Reilly. You've experienced Reilly. He's been with us throughout the entire show. You know who he is at this point. Look at that big smile on his face. So, yeah, man.
I'll ask Reilly a question. Sorry, guys. I'm slouching. My bag's cooked from the gym today. Reilly, I really, the chat is asking like about some interesting stories, but I don't really want to dox any of the holders or any of the people that are coming to you. That's just not fair, really. So I would ask you kind of, everyone has an elevator pitch here. So what is usually like, say, I don't know, someone's trying to get their parents in and they're like, I don't really get this. Like, what would you usually tell people, to kind of get them comfortable with what they're holding and the outlook of this Bitcoin thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So my elevator pitch a lot of the times, just because since we are non-custodial, we definitely weed out more of just like the normies that are kind of FOMOing in, and they're just wanting to get exposure to Bitcoin as quickly as possible. So a lot of times we don't necessarily have to have the Bitcoin one-on-one conversation because these folks have already put in their own proof of work and have fallen down the Bitcoin rabbit hole themselves to the point where they've the light bulb has gone off. And for, some of our higher net worth individual folks, they're like, well, shit, I need to buy a lot of this. And of course, some are farther than others in their Bitcoin journey, and so that's where I can be a resource moving forward when we do establish our relationship, where they do have my email, they do have my cell, where they can get a hold of, or we can do additional video calls where they can get a hold of me and we can have those conversations. I think it's more so of an elevator pitch of okay, well, why Bitcoin? Well, and first and foremost, the two biggest factors that I lay out to folks, if they're not already familiar, is that we are completely non-custodial, and then we're also publicly traded in Canada and OTC in the US. And so those two factors really help us to stand out, especially amongst the very large crypto-focused custodians, but even the other great Bitcoin only exchanges, because in my eyes, obviously I want I'm still a competitor at the end of the day. I want to have as much volume coming in, but I still have a lot of respect for our quote unquote competitors in the space, because at the end of the day we're all team Bitcoin, but since they are custodial, you do still have that component where, especially for people who are buying larger amounts of Bitcoin on those platforms, where you do have to ask for permission to withdraw those sats or those coins. Whereas with us, that's never an issue. You can't even move forward with your purchase until we have a Bitcoin address. And so whenever you do smash buy, that Bitcoin is being sent directly to your self-custody.
Fantastic, man. I absolutely love that. Again, I've told Adam this the first time he came on the show many years ago when we decided to partner up. You guys decided to build a on-ramp the right way, the hard way, because it's a lot easier, giving your clients the ability to just leave the Bitcoin on the exchange, because then you don't have to spend an extra hour explaining self-custody and, that you could look like a kook and like a crazy person to people. It's like, dude, your money's on this titanium plate, right? Which to Bitcoiners sounds completely normal, but to someone that perhaps isn't used to Bitcoin, that it might rub them the wrong way. And generally speaking, people that have a higher net worth tend to be a lot older, right? So anyways, I do want to thank Reilly for coming on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in to Simply Bitcoin today. Again, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC, schedule a meeting with them today. You'll either talk to Reilly or Chantel. You're in very good hands. They're very capable. We love you guys. Smash the like button, consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin. But before we do that, special shout out to Optimus Fields for literally doing the first Simply Bitcoin live show completely solo yesterday. 700 live viewers, 15,000 likes. He raw dogged 1 hour and 20 minutes of just by himself talking. I have to see the show. I don't know how you did that.
Yeah, well, it's official. I am turning the Simply Bitcoin Cole into the Simply Opti Cole, and we are running a coup on this show, Nico. I told you this morning. So you're about to be fired. If you're still bearish tomorrow, you're about to be fired.
I'm going to be fired.
You're the next Tim Dillon, just ripping by yourself.
I don't know how you get fired from your own company, but I'll take it. Anyways, guys.
That's why it's called a coup.
A coup. I don't know how that happens. But anyways, guys, love you all. Appreciate you all. Smash the like button, consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for a brand new episode.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.